Hi, everybody. How is it going? There he is.
There he is.
Hey, Brian.
Finally.
Hey, we can see you and we can hear you.
All right.
That's perfect. How's everybody doing today?
Doing great.
Absolutely beautiful here.
Oh yeah. What's going on? Where are you in the world, and why is it so beautiful?
I am in Maryland, and it is 70 degrees, sunny and clear. And
Yeah. Okay, that's great.
Perfect
It
day.
is typical Florida summer. It is raining, and then the sun will come out, and then it is raining, and the sun will come out. So,
And it'll always be really hot.
yes, it will always be really hot. Man, yeah. My goodness. So we have Andy today. We've got Rob, El Spooky Zorro. We've got Jeff, and we've got Brian, but that's not it. That's not it today, guys. We have a very special guest that's going to be joining us, and I'm going to go ahead and bring him in now. And that is, let me get back to where is everybody? Here we go. That is Bill, the toy photo guy.
Hey, Bill.
Guys.
Hey, Bill.
Hi, guys. How's it going?
Bill is somebody that I think we have probably featured on this channel, on this show many times. It seems like every time we pull pictures for our favorite picks of the week for the show, it seems like at least somebody's going to pick one of Bill's photos. His photography, like his skills, are fantastic. But not only that, he brings a lot of fun and life to these characters. He brings a lot of fun, and I love that. It's not just stoic, very, which I love. I love those, very serious photos that people take of characters. But man, he just brings the joy, man. So welcome to the show. I'm glad you could join us today.
Thanks for having me.
I have no idea. Yeah, absolutely. I have no idea how long this show is going to be today. We're just gonna run it, and we'll see how it goes. No planned time, yeah. Also, I know it's been a while since we did a show because we had one weekend I had to take off. One weekend we had Mother's Day. So so before we kick things off, we're just going to say hey to the chat. We got Monarch Prime here in the chat. We've got Greg Smurb. I know that guy. We got we got Guesague Chavarria.
Good morning.
We've got Brick. We've got HH. We've got Richard Gore. We've got Benny Torres. Let's see here. Who else? We've got Endless Fables. Brian, how you doing, buddy? Greg, where's Terrence? He's at the golf course, as we know. He's making that mythic money. We got Misery Toy Topics in. We've got just a lot of people. The rest of them are all you guys. Benny is showing the purple love. So, man, let's just kick things off right off the bat. Let's just jump right into it. Bill, how did you take your love of toys, and I'm assuming collecting, and like jump into the toy photo world? How'd you get started taking toy pics?
So for about 15 years now, I've worked for a surgical instrument company. Work in a marketing department. I started doing all their product photography. I shoot catalog covers. I shoot marketing stuff. So my old office, I used to have an entire wall just lined with figures and collectibles. Setting up shots one day, I needed to test my lights out, and I was like, let me just grab something off of here, take a shot. So I had a little old Playmates Ninja Turtle figure, printed out a picture of a New York City background, stuck it in there just to test the lights. And I was like, that came out kind of cool. So from there, it just kind of snowballed. So it was literally like, all right, I had fun with this setup, and then started getting on Instagram and seeing what everybody else was doing. And then 2020 hit, and it became my pandemic hobby. And it just all snowballed from there.
All right, so I have to ask, because I know all of us are thinking, was it the best Ninja Turtle of all, Raphael?
No, gosh, no. Leonardo was the best Ninja Turtle of all.
Oh,
No.
all right.
No, Michelangelo.
Yeah,
Good
Michelangelo.
night, guys. Thanks for
See you,
everybody.
everybody.
Really appreciate it. See you, everybody. No, Leo's my backup. I do like Leo. I do like Leo. No,
Bill, I'm with you there.
Le-
Leonardo, all
Leo's
the way,
my guy.
number one. I mean, he's a leader for
Exactly.
a reason.
yeah, I don't envy him. Being a dad of 3, I do not envy him because he has to keep everybody in line, and it's just, boy, I know what it's like. I have a hard time with my 3. I can't imagine if. Yeah, well, he's got 3 brothers. There you go. I'm thinking 4. Still early for me, guys. Sorry, I haven't had enough coffee. So, well, that's really cool. Yeah, I don't know how I mean, I just take shots with my phone. I don't do anything professional, but man, seems like I've been taking pictures of my toys since early 2000s. Back when I had a Flickr account. You guys remember Flickr?
Oh,
Yeah.
God.
Oh, yeah.
No, I don't.
Because when Picasso was around too.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I knew Picasso. He was great. So, taking us back to when you got into toy photography and you discovered AWOC, what was the first? Do you remember the first time you shot an AWOC figure? And do you remember like the setup or who was involved?
Well, it would have been Atreyu, because Atreyu was the first figure I think I bought.
Mm.
I found him retail. So we went out to, I live in Pennsylvania, so we went out to Gettysburg for a weekend for my wife's birthday. We did this cool ghost hunting thing, and next day we're just looking for stuff to do. And realized there was a shop called Eternia Dreams about 5 minutes away from where we were.
I've heard of both of these things that you're talking about, the ghost hunting tours in Pennsylvania and Eternia Dreams. I've heard of this place. It seems like a mecca that we should all go and visit.
Oh,
And
Eternia-
apparently you're Brian's neighbor.
Yeah.
Huh. Yeah, man. I live in Lancaster County, so about an hour and a half
Oh, yeah.
from Gettysburg. Yeah, so I'd never been to Eternia Dreams before. Decided to go check it out. At that point, I was already collecting a lot of Mythic stuff. So that's kind of what I went in to look for. And then they had a whole display of AWOC stuff. I had heard of AWOC before. I'd seen some of the shots. I thought they looked kind of cool. Then when I went and picked it up and literally was taking a look at the line and a lot of first wave stuff. So Atreyu and Pale, I think they had Thane, they had some of the head packs, they had weapons packs. So I bought Atreyu, and Atreyu was the first figure I bought. Thought he was really cool looking, just as a guy who grew up on Ninja Turtle figures. Had all the NECA stuff. I mean, all the Playmate stuff. I've got original Turtle Vans and all this stuff. I've been collecting Turtle stuff for years. It was very reminiscent of that line, and that's kind of what drew me into it in the first place. Is the anthropomorphic animals, the aesthetic of it. Then once I took it out of the box and the articulation on it, the accessories on them, it was fantastic, and I was just kind of hooked from there on in.
Yeah, absolutely. One of the really cool things that I love about AWOC is that they kind of took Jason and everybody over there at Sparrow. They took what was great from so many different lines and they put it out there right in the very beginning. So they weren't just launching like a figure line, right? Like they're like, we're going to do heads packs out the gate. We're going to do armor packs and out the gate. We're going to do weapons packs out the gate. And that was one of the things that I think, those things typically come later in a toy line's life cycle. And they were like, no, we're doing this out the gate. And even though I did not jump in on the original Kickstarter that went down for AWOC, I did, eventually get on board. And now I think I have everything. I think I'm missing like 2 of the great apes, 2 of the big brutes. But other than that, I think I have everything else. So so I have to ask you, was this, so I've heard of a ghost hunting tour in Pennsylvania at Gettysburg. Was this the one where they give you the little talk box and they let you walk around and see if you can hear things up on the box or anything?
So yeah, it's cool. It's just I think the place is just called Gettysburg Ghost Tours, and you kind of go out like 11 o'clock to like 2 o'clock in the morning, and they give you a whole little ghost hunting kit. So they give you an EMF
Nice.
detector, some light up stuff, the little frequency scanner, and it's cool. So we went and toured what was an old field hospital, which was kind of creepy, and we went and toured an old schoolhouse. So it's a 1-floor schoolhouse. There is an upstairs, but you can't go up into it just because of how old it is. It's Civil War era. Structural integrity of some of those buildings is not at all. The field house, you can go up into the attic. So we've done a couple of these. Like we've gone to Gettysburg a couple times. My wife and I like to go to all these spooky locations. So we went to Salem. We went to Sleepy Hollow a bunch. So it's just
Man, this sounds like a vacation made in heaven for me. I would love to do all of this. This is incredible.
oh, it's fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So I wanted to hop back here real quick because let's see, who was it? Trying to find who was it? Endless Fable. So Brian George says Atreyu was my first figure to shoot as well. That's really cool. You guys have that in common. Absolutely. So since you have started down this road of shooting AWOC, have you latched on to one particular character that is like your favorite that you love to photograph?
Pale, I think, because of Pale's expressions. There's just so much that you can do. That the face sculpt on Pale really lends itself to close-up shots. It's expressive enough for far out shots. The posability on him is great. So I think I shoot Pale more than anything else. I picked up General Thane not too long ago. He's fantastic. It's just, and he meshes well with so many different figures. I've done a shot with Mythics. I've done a shot with the Boss Fight Studios, Bucky O'Hare, for one of the collab pictures. So he's just cool in that he, especially scale wise, for being such a big figure, the articulation on him is fantastic. The hand swaps, you can get him to grip stuff. So Pale and Thane recently, yeah.
Yeah, Thane's one of my favorites. I am really, really hoping that we see. I mean, I know we have another Thane coming on the brawler body, if that's correct. Is that the right term for the thicker bodies? I think we have like a Pale, or not Pale.
Kali.
Yeah, we have another Kali
coming. Yeah,
Kali Prime, and I'm looking forward to that. But I think I need some more Kali in my life. Let's see. Brick something said, if the OG Kickstarter wasn't out of control successful so quickly, there would have been weapons packs and heads packs or primal. Ancients, credit to the early adopters and backers who made that happen. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, the first tribe members. So, yeah, the first tribe. I like that. That's what we can call them, the OG backers. All right. Well, what about the rest of you guys? Does anybody have any specific questions about AWOC photography or just photography in general for Bill before we get into the selections?
Yeah, Bill, going back to those spooky ghost places, does that play a part in any of your photography or any of your storytelling?
It does. Halloween's always been my favorite holiday. Ever since I was a little kid, just loved Halloween. I drive everybody I work with crazy during that season. I'd make my entire office dress up. We throw a Halloween party every year. Going to those places, it's hard to kind of put into words. It's just I don't know. It feels like home in a weird, creepy way. So like I love horror figures. I love horror movies. And you go to places like Sleepy Hollow in New York. There's the Sleepy Hollow Cemetery, and we've done gaslight walking tours to this place. You go in at midnight, they give you a gas lamp. They take you around, and it's massive. I mean, they tell you when you go in there, they're like, if you don't feel good, if you have to stop, we're going to leave you here, and somebody's going to come get you because you can't find your way back out of here in the dark. Like, it's such a cool place, and they fully embrace the Headless Horseman thing. They have Headless Horseman statues. They've got, you walk around in the cemetery during the day around Halloween season, there's a person riding a live horse dressed as a Headless Horseman for pictures. It's such a cool environment. Salem was the same way. Salem was really crowded, especially around Halloween. But that was a really cool experience just to see the history and then kind of the spooky side of it. I mean, everywhere we travel, we always find something weird. Like we went to Cape May, New Jersey, and did a Cape May ghost holly tour in the middle of summertime. I'm like, it's summer, we're at the beach. Let's go ride this ghost trolley. And my wife's awesome,
I'm
so
down for that.
she hops on board with all that stuff. She loves it too.
Oh my God. Like I would love to just retire once my kids are all out of the house and just get an RV and me and my wife just go from like spooky location to spooky location to spooky location. Like I want to go to haunted houses. I want to go to like, if you know, I so want to go to the hotel. Like is it in Colorado where like they filmed parts of like The Shining? Like I want to go to the Chester. Is that what it's called? The Chesterfield or something like that? I don't know. I can't remember.
I can't
The
recall, but I know the one you're talking about.
But I want to go there like so bad. Like if it's haunted and it's like, oh, don't go in room 205 because that's where the witch lives. I'm like, let's go.
Let's
Like,
go.
I want to go sleep there. I would love to go visit Sleepy Hollow, that whole area. It just seems incredible.
Oh, it's fantastic.
Headless Horseman was the set, the Figure Obscura set that got me back into Mythics from a long time ago.
That's what got me into Mythics in the first place.
Nice.
Right. Yeah.
So
that's a
I had
fantastic set.
There's a Mythics official partners guy, Death by Collectibles, and he's local to where I am. So he has set up. We have all these local toy shows, which is fantastic. But they literally set one up a block away from my house, which was dangerous.
Nice.
So I met him, bought my first couple Mythics from him, and then so he was selling the original Headless Horseman, not the retail version, because I wanted the orange pumpkin.
Right.
That was it. I just wanted the orange pumpkin. Got that thing and was completely blown away by it. And I was like, all right, this is a problem now. So here we go.
Yeah, absolutely. So maybe we can see a Headless Horseman AWOC figure in the future.
Oh, that'd be fantastic.
Yeah, I'm putting in a request now. You mentioned horror movies, and then we'll move on to AWOC, I swear. But hey, apparently we love spooky stuff here. What's your favorite horror movie of all time? Put you on the spot.
Trick or Treat.
Trick or treat.
Oh,
Trick or
really?
Treat.
Where's the trick or treat?
Sam is such an iconic horror character. It's awesome.
Yeah.
I watched that movie for the first time years and years and years ago. NECA put out the Awesome Sam figure. At this point, I mean, I have the Spirit life-size Sam, the plush that they put out, the action figure from NECA. I literally went to a paranormal convention a week ago. This place, Penhurst Asylum up in Pennsylvania.
Oh, I've heard of that place.
Yeah, so that was cool. They had a whole big paranormal convention there last weekend, and found a lady who's selling a Sam minifig. So, like, I collect all kinds of trick or treat stuff. It's just at this point for me, Sam is like the icon of Halloween. Like it's.
You know, it's funny. I'm a designer, and I've always worked in advertising. And one of the things that you strive for in design, right, whether it's a logo or a slogan or anything like that, is you strive for when somebody sees it, you immediately want them to think that's the way that logo has always looked.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you remember that logo from 30 years ago, like that's how that logo looked 30 years ago. It's just been updated. That's what you want. You want something that is so iconic that it looks like it has always been there. Right. And I have always assumed that Trick or Treat movie was like from 79, 80 or 81. I always thought that was a classic horror movie from my childhood that I never watched, that I just somehow missed. But it came out during the Freddy and not Freddy, but like the Jason and the Halloween. And I was crazy surprised to realize, no, that movie is really not that old. Like
No, it's
I
not.
remember looking at the cast list and like Anna Paquin's in that movie. And I'm like, oh, like this movie's not even that old. Like I did not. So whatever they did, I still to this day have never seen that movie, and I will rectify it this Halloween. do not fear. But I did not know, like, it's really not that old of a film. So whatever they did it right, because that to me, in my mind, existed back in the 80s.
Yeah, definitely. One of the coolest things early on when I was taking toy pictures a couple years ago, and I bought that NECA Sam figure. I made a whole little diorama from the inside of the house, the blood all over the walls, took a shot of Sam, and the director, Mike Doherty, actually liked my photo on Instagram. So like that was a cool thing for me. I was like, oh,
Wow.
like that's the dude who made it. Like, all right, fantastic. Made my
That's
day.
incredible. Well, that leads me to a really good question, because what was do you remember the first photo that you took and posted, whether it was on Instagram or wherever, that really like got like a lot of likes or got you a lot of follows, or kind of like blew up in a way to where it kind of puts you on the toy photography map?
One in particular, I did a shot of X23 leaping out of the water. So I try to do Sir Dork's monthly photo challenge, and I don't remember what the name of the challenge was. This was a couple years ago. So I went out to a local national park up by us. It's actually the same park my wife and I got married in that place. But they have this big, awesome lake out there, and then there's all these little private fishing spots. So it's kind of, you can find a secluded spot down by the water, which is nice. So it's like, it's not overly crowded. And I set up the shot of X23 leaping out of the water, set a really fast shutter speed on it so I could chuck a rock in there and get the water popping up. And just the way that shot came out to me, I was like, that actually came out a lot better than I thought anything I've ever done up to that point. Even so much to the point where the Toymerks guys had asked me to be in the magazine and asked me to submit a shot. That was the shot that I put in there, because that was the first shot that I took that I was like, I'm really proud of this. It's a shot that when you see it, you kind of makes you like, all right, like maybe I can do this and be okay at it, instead of just imposter syndrome building up and I don't know what I'm doing and I'm just making it up as I go along, which is still the case, but
We all creatives feel that way. Brick just said something that's really important here. Yeah, he's like, you just cracked the code for AWOC. Timelessness and classicism is the goal. AWOC should feel like it came from the 70s or 80s with elements from the 90s on up, and then anime. So yes, absolutely. Brick, also being a designer, knows exactly what I'm talking about when you try to hit on something and it makes you feel like that's always been the way. It's always been there. I think for me, what personified what Brick is talking about was I was playing around with Sparrow Atlas, who is my favorite AWOC figure. And that was one of the first, I think it was like one of the Kickstarter exclusives. But I think from what I understand, there was a screw up at the factory and they overproduced that figure. And then they had a ton of them, and they were like, well, what do we do? So let's just put them out there and sell them. And so everybody got a chance, to get their hands on them. And I think I picked one up off of Big Bad Toy Store for like $35 or something, not even that expensive. And I love that guy. He's so different than any other character that's in there. And he's a wizard. And from what I understand, he's the only wizard in the AWOC lineup so far. And then I just happened to get this purple cape. I had this posable purple cape. I think I bought it for something else. I think I bought it for a Marvel Legends Magneto, and I put it on him. And I was standing in my living room, and I looked at that figure, and I was like, holy crap. Like, this looks like it stepped straight out of like Masters of the Universe. Like, like it instantly, just putting a cape on that figure and having the staff, I was like, oh, wow, like this looks like an 80s toy. And then that's when it hit me that that's what they were going for, is this playability, this hand feel, this aesthetic that looks like it could have been like part of our play back in our childhood. And so, yeah. So, did I ask you already? Do you have who is your favorite character from AWOC? Maybe not necessarily to shoot, but who is your favorite? Is it still Pale, or is there a different? Do you have a favorite?
I don't know. I think it's a toss up between Pale and Atreyu. I think Atreyu, especially Atreyu's profile with the dreads, it's such a cool look to me. I love his shield that he comes with, the look of the sword. And I mean, he was my first one, so I think I got to go with Atreyu.
Yeah. Do you have the updated like gladiatorial versions?
I just picked up Gladiator Atreyu. I think the last of the new line I have to get is still Gladiator Pale. So I'll nab him.
Those two are fantastic, dude. The weathering and the rust and everything on the weapons is just top notch. The painting is incredible.
Have you used the articulation with the jaw and mongrel at all in any of your shots?
I have, it's funny because until somebody like points it out, I didn't even know his shot was articulated. Like I think I was looking at somebody else's shot scrolling through Instagram one day, and I was like, wait a minute. I'm like, his mouth's open. Ran over to mine, and I'm like, huh. I had no idea. Like it's just one of those cool things where it's like, all right, now I can do X, Y, and Z with it. Like it's just it adds a whole other dimension, which is really cool.
Yeah, that's why you got to get these toys out, play with them, man. Get the floor, get dirty. All right. If nobody has any other just general questions for Bill, if you do, let's go ahead and get them in. And if not, and then we can just start going through the images. And also, chat. If anybody has any questions for Bill in the chat, throw them out there and let's get them answered.
Now, do you think of the shot first, or do you think of what character you want to shoot first?
It depends on what I'm shooting. So I do a bunch of collabs throughout the week. There's some monthly collabs. There's some bi-weekly collabs. So usually I tend to shoot, if there's a theme, it's always theme first, then character. Because especially, and what's cool with AWalk is there's such a variety of characters that you can put in with those themes. So like I might see a theme for a collab and be like, all right, cool. Like Thane is perfect for this shot, or Treyu's perfect for this shot, or the Horde infantry guys are going to look really cool here. So it's usually that. Then it depends. When I get a new figure, I mean, instantly I'm opening up and shooting it. So that's when figure will follow shot idea. So it kind of all depends on what I'm shooting and what I'm shooting for. But literally anytime, and everybody should, whenever you get something brand new, take it out of the box and fiddle with it.
And then
Absolutely.
You tried to take and it just wasn't working, and you changed out a figure and suddenly it clicked.
All the time. There's so many times where like I'll go through and I'll spend an hour on a shot and set up stuff and lighting, get the effects down and try and do all this stuff practically, and then you go to edit it and I'm like, none of that looks right. So then I might go back and I might change a setup, I might change a figure, I might probably move a light around. So yeah, some shots do come out better than others. For me, especially on my account, I typically tend to post all of my shots. So even if there's a shot I'm not like entirely happy with, I'll still post it. I'll see how it does, figure out what I like about it, figure out what I don't like about it, and try and learn from that. So I know a lot of people, they're like, I only post my best stuff. I only post 100% of what I think is my top quality stuff. And while I try and do that as much as possible, there's some stuff where I'm like, you know what? I worked really hard on this. Maybe I didn't come to the final shot that was in my head, but I'm still proud of it and I still put a lot of work into it. And that's kind of what it boils down to. So it's kind of a mixed bag. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely. Now we have a question in the chat about your Instagram. So that's a really good question. And do you mind sharing it so everybody can find you?
Yeah, I'm at Toy Photo Guy on Instagram. And
at Toy Photo Guy.
And a bunch of other platforms that I probably should use more often, but forget that I have.
Yeah, where else can they can people find you other than Instagram, just in case they don't have Instagram?
I mean, I have Toy Photo Guy on Facebook, Toy Photo Guy on X. I have a TikTok account. I rarely ever use it. For a while, I was posting a lot of my behind the scenes setup videos for TikTok. I honestly always just forget that I have it. Instagram is the easiest, most accessible place. I think I have a Threads. I might have a Blue Sky. I don't even know.
Yeah, exactly. I know what that's like. It's like, oh yeah, I totally forgot that I even had this. I was going to say, yeah, if you didn't do that on TikTok, I think that would be a great place to post that kind of content, because I have a friend of mine who's really into toy posing videos, and he has a TikTok, and when he changed over and started doing like the setups, like showing like what his diorama looked like and what his lights look like and all, you know, if you use smoke or whatever, and then he, you know, kind of shows that, and then he shows like the final shot. I mean, like his TikTok exploded. Like people just love that kind of content. So, are you on YouTube at all? Like, do you ever do any kind of like video editing and like showing setups or your process or anything like that?
So I don't right now. Years and years and years ago, I had a YouTube channel that we did for about 6 months. And hats off to you guys, because the sheer amount of work that is involved with the YouTube channel, I think right now is kind of beyond the scope of the amount of work that I want to put into something like this.
Yeah.
Because it is so much work to shoot and edit and score and do all the graphics for a video. Like, it is so much time and effort. As opposed to where I could go into on almost cheating, but I could go in, use my phone, take a couple quick videos of my setup and post a reel to Instagram and kind of get my content that way.
Yeah.
I have a YouTube account. I haven't done anything with it. I have a tendency anytime there's a social platform, I'm like, let me go sign up at this and at least get my name on there. So if I
Right.
want to use it, I have my name.
Yeah.
And that's kind of it. I wouldn't mind doing YouTube content. I see so many other people that post behind the scenes videos and setup videos that are done far better than I could ever do. And people have asked me for like setup videos, and I'm like, you should go check out this guy. You should go check out so and so, because what they're doing is going to better explain anything that I can show how I set my stuff up.
Yeah, no, I understand, but don't let that keep you from doing it, because like your unique perspective and your unique process and your unique voice, it's always needed. Always. Sorry, Jeff, didn't mean to cut you off.
No, the few that I saw when I was looking for my photo pick today, I was like, damn, those setups are awesome. Because you do put some of your setup videos along after you post your photo.
I try, yeah.
So if anybody goes back on Bill's Instagram, just don't stop on the picture. Slide over. You'll see some behind the scenes videos.
Yeah, check out those reels.
Yeah.
Well, let's jump into it. Speaking of setups, let's stop talking. Let's start showing. Andy, you're up, buddy. Here, we're going to throw your image up first. This was the one that Andy chose. So take it away, Andy. Why did you choose this pick? And do you have any questions for Bill on it?
Well, see, I saw this and just the lighting, the sense of movement, that you feel like you're watching these two toys fight.
Yeah.
And I like it that they're not the main named characters. So, if you see like Pale versus a Horde, you know that he's going to come out, but you're like, oh, you're kind of invested because you don't know how this fight's going to go. And
Yeah,
that all just caught my imagination and attention all at once.
I love this character on the right, Cordoon. Is that his name? Is that, if I'm remembering
No,
correctly?
that's an army builder. That's one of the Feralist Stalkers.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you're right. Does it use the Cordoon head?
It's a similar head. I don't know if they're exactly the same, because this is the Feralist Stalker that comes with the head like that, and then there's a second head that's like a maned head, like a lion's mane.
Yep.
Yeah, I was just looking over at mine and I realized I have a different head on my Cordoon. So. No, I love this. Now, when you have a pose like this where you have one character leaping, are you doing all of this in camera? Like, is he up on some sort of base that you're photoshopping out, or?
So when I build all my dioramas, they're all built out of that pink insulation foam core board. So he literally is perched on a wooden skewer.
Oh,
So-
nice. Okay.
I have a tendency to, and it ends up looking kind of cool because it makes the ground texture more worn and weathered. It's got all these pock marks and holes in it, but I will literally stab a skewer into the bottom of that, angle him how I want, and then he's just kind of perched on there. And then I'll just, if the skewer is still visible in the shot, I'll take it out in Photoshop. I do try to hide as much as possible. Sometimes you just can't. But yeah, he's just literally perched on a wooden barbecue skewer, stabbed into a piece of foam.
Oh yeah, here we go. Brian says, "Same head, different paint." There we go. That's why I thought that was him just at first glance. Are you using, just as a technical? Are you using like the newest version of like Photoshop, Creative Cloud 25?
Yep.
Oh yeah, man.
Photoshop beta. Yeah.
Okay. Oh my gosh, I got to tell you, man. Like, as somebody who does a ton of photography manipulation for my day-to-day job, the Photoshop's AI tools are just incredible. I mean, it's, they are just, they make stuff like removing polls like a breeze. Whereas before, you have to like go in and do everything manually. Now you just select the poll and be like remove, and Photoshop's like, got you. Hold my beer.
The remove tool in Photoshop is absolutely fantastic. It's probably my new favorite update that they've done. I try not to use too much of the generative AI stuff. It has its purpose, especially in my day-to-day stuff. But man, that remove tool, because like for my 9 to 5, what I'm photographing is surgical instruments. So I'm photographing miniature stainless steel things, and they get smudges and scratches and dings, and some of them have different paints and things on them. So to clean all that stuff up, like the remove tool has been a godsend.
Oh yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And so if you need help cleaning any of those surgical tools, I know somebody who can do that. Our buddy Greg Smurber. That's what he does for a living. Exactly. All right, so let's get into the next one. Brian, you're up, buddy. Here is your choice. Look at this. This is gorgeous.
Yeah, I just loved not only the lighting aspect of it, but the one thing that's great with AWOC figures is that they can kind of cross over into so many different toy lines. They have turtles, especially with all the mutants they have, and like more current storylines. There's mutants there's like a mutant town where there are some that are like cat-like and ape-like. So it just fit in so perfectly. The question I had is, how do you do? I don't do any kind of photography, any kind of AI, any kind of graphics work whatsoever. So how do you do the lighting in the rain?
All right, so I tend to watch a lot of YouTube tutorials. Now, so this is a mix of practical light and a digital effect. So I'll spray the whole set down to make it look wet, to get that kind of natural reflection. I've done, and I can't remember if I did it on this shot or not, practical rain effect with a spray bottle. You put a light behind it, you can kind of catch that reflection a little bit. The headlight effect, so there is a light offset to, I guess, my right of the van that's shining onto Pale, and you can kind of catch it on the corner of the van by the door. So you can kind of see where it's a little bit brighter right there. And then it's I watched a lot of Photoshop headlight tutorials to try and bring that out digitally. But the way Pale is lit, he's lit practically, because I wanted that practical light effect on him. It is so hard to Photoshop like a fake light. Like you get so much more in camera. So the headlights themselves, with that little glare coming off, that's a Photoshop effect, but Pale's light is all practical.
Nice.
It marries so well together, you can't even tell. So is the rain digital, or are you using a spray bottle to capture that?
Let me take a look at this. This, I believe the rain is digital. I think with the kind of darkness that I needed for the opposite side of Pale, to put any kind of bright light up to catch a rain reflection, I would have either had to speed up my shutter speed, which means I would have had to lower up my ISO to get it that fast. And anytime you do that, and new Photoshop is great with taking out a lot of the noise. So I think instead of opting for all of those extra steps for this, I think I just went with the digital rain.
Yeah, man. It looks good either way. I mean, it's, I don't begrudge anybody who uses digital tools to achieve, to me, it's like all about the end result. Like, Does it look good when it's done? Yeah, I don't care how you did it, man. That's great. It doesn't matter. It's all tools in the toolbox. Do you use Lightroom? Because their new AI denoise tool, but you got to be shooting camera raw. Like that stuff is incredible.
shoot camera raw, yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, they have an AI denoise tool in Lightroom that's just incredible for fixing stuff like that.
So I'll use Photoshop's Photoshop Raw.
Oh,
So
okay, got you.
They've got a built-in, and I think it uses the same AI that Lightroom has for a
Mhm.
denoise.
It's all Adobe. Yeah.
I just started fiddling around with that, going through like the Photoshop Raw presets and stuff. Because before it was AI driven, like the denoise stuff always had this weird painterly effect where it kind of softened and
Yeah.
it kind of wrecked your sharpness.
Yeah, it's like kind of like running a median on it almost. It just kind of blurs everything, tries to get rid of it that way, and it just kind of makes your photo look muddy.
Yeah.
Quick question about the background. Is that like a monitor with that scene pulled up, or is that like something you printed out and put in the back?
No, that's a believe it or not, that's a Roku TV.
Oh, wow. Yeah,
So-
I'm impressed by people who do that, who shoot in front of TVs or monitors. I wish I had the setup for that.
So it's not a big Roku TV. It's just I'm not even sure. It's just something you'd find like a college dorm. We had an extra Roku TV floating around that has a USB port. So I'll gather a bunch of digital background images. There's a couple of different cool free resource websites like Pexels, or I think there's Unsplash. Every once in a while, and I'll say it, I don't care, I'll use ChatGPT to generate a background image.
Oh, yeah.
Just because, like, if I can't find what I'm looking for through those resources. But then usually I'll still take it into Photoshop and color grade it and do what I wanted to do for the shot. Yeah, so I shoot a mix of digital backgrounds, practical diorama stuff. I build most of my diorama stuff. I do have a couple of pieces from Extreme Sets that I picked up recently. But yeah, so this is just a digital background. I forget if I found this. My only gripe with this photo is the bottom left corner, is you can see where the floor meets the monitor. And it, like, I posted
man,
it and it
it's
drives me nuts.
so unnecessary to even point that out because it just looks fantastic. I have a couple more questions and we're going to move on. One, what turtle van is that?
That's from the new
Mutant Mayhem.
yeah.
Oh, that looks great.
So I have the original 1980s Turtle Van. I have the remade one that Playmates did a couple years ago. And then I had this one. And what I really liked with that one is the big, wide open. I wanted to be able to see the turtle.
Leonardo, of course.
Yes, it's got to be Leonardo. He's the best turtle, hands down. And then I liked that the front tire said Turtle Power on it, because this is one of
That's dope.
one of the shots for our AWOC collab. So the theme was kind of mixing turtles and AWOC together. So I really wanted to kind of hammer home, because Leo's kind of sitting in the darkness and the shadows a little bit.
I love
Just
the
that-
light that you put inside of there too, by the way. That red light in the cab is brilliant.
That's just the inside of the cab is kind of like that yellow orangish color. So the overhead light is actually just shining through that, creating that glow.
Oh, wow. Okay. No, that's brilliant. It does look like there's a light inside creating that light. That's awesome.
Yeah, no, it's just because it's that plastic is thin, you can get that light close enough to it.
That's brilliant. I'm gonna kick us back here real quick because I want to pick up this this comment right here from Misery Toy Topics. Amilcar. I always get that name mixed up. It looks like it would be amazing if AWOC did some sort of figure obscura drop. It doesn't even have to be a whole figure, maybe an armor pack with a head that can use the ancients, maybe all kinds of characters. Yeah, absolutely. Like, I know that they, like to try to do like show exclusives. Maybe this would be like a really cool way of doing a show exclusive figure, but when there's not necessarily like a show to drop it at, like that would be really kind of cool. Like if they just do like surprise, like I wish more toy companies just did those surprises. Like, you have no idea what's coming, and then all of a sudden, surprise, and it's in stock, order today, you'll get it in 3 days. Like, yeah, my wallet doesn't like that. but I like it. I like
Yeah,
it. a
you got
lot.
about 30 seconds to make your decision before it sells out. Yeah.
Right. But do like the horsemen do, like do different drops on different days or throughout. Jeff, you're up, buddy. Here's yours.
Yeah.
Man, this is so dope. Like
So-
again, let's leaping. What did you like about this? And do you have any questions?
Yeah, Bill. I didn't know that Atreyu was one of your favorites, and I was just like, wow, this is captured so well. And I like that you used the alternate head on the ancient. Where did you? I'm guessing your Dio piece is at the very bottom. Is that tree one of your Dio pieces also?
So the tree in the front is a Dio piece. The base is a Dio piece. The background is digital. So all the trees in the background are digital. I am on this never-ending quest to find better Dio trees. Like I made these. It's literally a paper towel roll, some tin foil, hot glue, and a bunch of paint.
Wow.
I have branches.
It's one of the best I've seen.
Yeah.
Honestly, I'm not just blowing smoke. Seriously, because
I was
and
like,
I'm
well, I
gonna
want to
tell you
make it.
Yeah, absolutely. Because it's so hard because the finer detail of tree bark, it's hard to create in like 1/12 scale. And so when you don't make it 1/12 scale, if it's bigger, then the tree looks out of proportion. But the details on this tree look fantastic. I mean, it looks like vines growing up that tree. It's incredible.
Yeah, it is literally a cardboard paper towel roll. Crush up a ball of tinfoil, unroll it, wrap it around, hot glue it down, hot glue over the surface, and then paint it up and seal it. And then there's a little bit of like moss and stuff I glued on there. But I've seen some of these guys with some of these, I guess they're 3D printed trees and some of this stuff. And I'm just like, where can I find this but not pay $75 for a tree? You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like it is my eternal struggle to find. And I know that I think Trevor 16 Shooter has, I think they're like the aquarium trees that you put on. I've seen in some of his shots. Like that's really cool. I just want a 1/12 scale vertical tree. Like that's it.
Yeah, it doesn't seem like it would be hard to do, but my gosh, yes, you are correct. What are the lines coming from behind on the right, the more horizontal looking lines?
So these are I'll go to Hobby Lobby, I'll go to any kind of craft store, and I buy just fake plants. So this is like
okay.
some tall grass that's just kind of peeking into the shot.
I like it.
That's what that orange leaf, that's a practical. And I'll literally buy, because again, I'm on this never-ending quest to find fake trees. I'll buy stuff that looks like I could use it as a tree in the way background because it might not scale right, or I'll put it in the foreground and you'll just see kind of like a corner of it. So always try to do something that breaks it up so I have a foreground, a middle ground, and a background. So that's just kind of like my little foreground element. But it's just literally it's just a fake tall grass looking plant.
Yeah,
Nice.
I thought I kind of thought it was like tall grass, but then at the same time I was like, oh, that could be like action lines of him leaping forward kind of effect. So it
My first thought was power lines,
Yeah,
and, I
power
didn't even-
lines.
and I didn't even question it. You know, like I didn't even question it. I was like, yeah, because they have electricity. Like
Yeah.
they've
They
got
do.
Power, don't they? Like,
they're
they
on the
got-
grid.
Yeah, they're on the grid. And then I was like, hey, that's not power lines. Like, stop being an idiot. Like, that's immediately what I thought. Check this comment out from Moonshine Mel. AWOC's #1 fan, 50 figures, 24 ancients, 6 heads packs, 9 weapons packs, several pre-orders, and 2 all-in Kickstarters coming. Yeah, AWOC is the line for me.
Nice.
That's a flex. That's a
Yeah.
flex.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I hope you're on payroll, Mel. I hope you're on payroll. We're gonna go with my choice next, and I know that we have shown this image before. Somebody has chosen this image for our shots of the week before. I love this image. There's so much here that I love. So let's unpack it. First of all, I have to know. Like, my biggest question is that axe being held in place practically? Did you add it separately? And the look on this guy's face, I always forget his name. What's this? Somebody help me with his name. The yellow. He was one of the.
Oh.
Who is it?
Aokin from the
Oh
Gladiator.
yeah, Hawkin. That's right. That's
yeah.
right. Yeah. Oh, that's right. Because I remember, like, when I remember seeing him the first time, I kept calling him Hawktua. That's right. It's Hawkin. I mean, I just love the fact that he's like, yeah. It hits me like that scene in Justice League when Bruce Wayne throws the batarang at Flash, and he just kind of like slowly like looks at it and then realizes like, oh, that's Batman. Like that's what it reminds me of. But dude, talk us through this because this is incredible.
Yeah, that exactly what you're talking about. That was kind of the inspiration for this shot. The axe is practically there. It's sitting on, I forget if I used wire or a skewer for that, with some sticky tack on the inside. So it's kind of lined up. A lot of this was trying to find that angle because I really wanted to get that expression on his face. I wanted the light to hit that expression on his face. I wanted Tiberius kind of obscured in the background because I really wanted the focus to be like that shine on that axe and then him looking right at it. So that Batman Flash scene, that was definitely the inspiration for this shot. Because in my head, like you could easily see him just reaching up and grabbing the axe and laughing about it.
Oh yeah, in my head canon, yeah, he does. He grabs it and throws it back for sure. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, this is incredible.
The motion in all of your pictures, like you could just feel this axe coming at you.
Yeah, I try. It's sometimes it's really difficult. Sometimes stuff just doesn't work out. A lot of this is anything that I'll shoot is pretty much in scene. So like I won't shoot a figure on like a green screen and then Photoshop it in somewhere. So if I can get them all within that shot and kind of get the motion I'm doing, I use a lot of 12 gauge armature wire or these skewers to kind of prop stuff up. You play with different angles to get different effects. So you can see like even the angle of the shot is kind of off kilter because like when I shot it, that tree is straight up and down. So like my camera's been tilted. That's the same tree from the other shot because
well, what offsets the fact that it's tilted is the fact that that little low wall in the background is completely horizontal and straight. So like it's like because your eye kind of has that, like your eye doesn't really notice too much that the figures are off kilter. Your eyes notice that the trees are,
Yep.
So I really dig that. That's really dope. Yeah, I would have guessed that the axe was done practically, and I would have probably, if I was setting this up, I probably would have like put a piece of wire on a Hawkin and then like had it like have him like being the one that's supporting it and then just Photoshop out the wire. But yeah, dude, that's incredible. I can't remember which one of us shared this before, but I just know that we've seen it before. And I remember thinking, yeah, that's a fantastic shot.
Yeah, I think it's just a 12 gauge. I use like a black wire because it's easier to take out and sticky tack. And yeah, sticky tack is fantastic.
Absolutely brilliant. Now we have a team member that's part of the tribe team. He's been integral into our inception of the show, the ideas behind the show. But unfortunately, when we record, Terrence can never make it. He always works on the weekends. He can't ever make it, but he did send a photo. This is Terrence's choice. He absolutely loves this. And I asked him if he had a question or a thought about this, and what he sent was. He wanted to know if you're a fan of wrestling, and if so, who he thinks the biggest face and heels of the Animal Warriors Fighting Ultimate League, what he calls awful, would be the Animal Warriors Fighting Ultimate League. I think Thane matched up very well with Hawksaw Jim Duggan, or Dugan, would be fun as Mongrel as the Junkyard Dog, and Kali as the Undertaker, maybe Vero Atlas in some Bret Hart color shades. So have at it. Like, boy,
All right.
Terrence, that's a mouthful.
I'm going to preference this by saying I've been a wrestling fan since I was, 6 years old. Years ago in a former life, I was a referee on Independence for about 4 or 5 years. I trained to wrestle a little bit. I had to stop because of the mouth stuff. I was a ref on the Indies for yeah, 4 or 5 years, local promotions in Pennsylvania, Jersey, Delaware. So I've been a big wrestling fan. So like this shot for me, once Brian put in for the collab that we were doing a WrestleMania theme shot. I had to go fix this ring. I had bought, that's the Masters of the Universe ring, and my top rope was all messed up. So I had to take that thing apart and fix it.
That's exactly what I was going to ask you if that's what that ring was, because I have that and I actually remember those wires very distinctly. Yeah. The
So
color.
I had to take that whole top rope off just to kind of restring it because it got overstretched. I was trying to think, biggest heels, biggest baby faces. I mean, you gotta look at. I mean, Kali is obviously your biggest heel. He's your, I don't even know, Attitude Era Triple H almost. He's got all the power, but he still wants to treat everybody like crap, kind of a heel. Which and kind of the reason I went with Pale on this shot for the baby face is that expression. So I know we were talking earlier about facial expressions. He's got just this cool smirk, kind of the look that Austin would give after he gave somebody a stunner. So I definitely went with him for that shot specifically. God, I wouldn't even know where to go comparing everybody else.
Is the label of Pale digital or practical?
Pale is digital. So I went in, I took out the Austin part, put Pale 316. There's another little Easter egg can. So the can itself is practical with digital effects. That is, I don't have a 1/12 beer can. So that is a TMNT ooze canister.
Nice.
That I just kind of cleaned up and then popped the Spiro logo on there and a little bit of splash coming out. Yeah, I was really happy with this because trying to get him, I looked at so many pictures of Austin giving the stunner and trying to find an angle where I could have them suspended and still look right. So I have a couple of those machine blocks, and they're sitting on some of these machine blocks. I took a plate shot of the empty ring so that I could take the machine block out digitally just to kind of get that angle, because there's certain ways that will sell the shot that, you know, it looks like a stunner. Because if he's just sitting on the ground and it's static, he just kind of looks like he's giving him a hug. So
Right. Yeah. And it's actually really smart where you decided to have the terminus of the characters behind that bottom line, because that's a really easy plate swap, is to swap it out where that ring line, like that string, the rope actually bisects right there. And I see that it does overlap a little bit, but that makes it a lot easier on you. I can imagine having to fix all that stuff digitally. Yeah, that looks great. Yeah, I don't know enough about wrestling. The beginning and the end of my wrestling knowledge begins and ends with Hulk Hogan's like Hollywood cartoon, whatever that was in the 80s.
The Rock and Wrestling.
Yeah, the Rock and Wrestling. I watched that religiously. The only wrestlers I know are back when it was called the WWF, and I have the Masters of the Universe wrestling mashup figures. I have those, but only because they're He-Man. So I don't know a lot, but I think Blight would make a good heel. I think he'd make a really good. Yeah, got to use him. Yeah, for sure. Oh man, yeah. I'm glad we ended on this one, because I think this is the pinnacle of like what I'm talking about. Like the way you add so much fun and levity and like character to your photography is just absolutely incredible. And then Brian says, great episode. Got to take some photos. Great shots, guy. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Thanks, Brian, before you had to head out. I think Andy said he was going to be heading out after this episode to be inspired and go take some shots over in what did you say? A bamboo field near your home?
Like a big bamboo patch just down the road from me. So I'm going to have a little fun with that.
Nice.
Cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, before we wrap it up, does anybody have any other questions for Brian? I mean, for Bill. Sorry. I got too many B names in my head today. I'm sorry, guys.
It's all good.
No, thank you. Thank you.
What?
Bill.
Hey,
Yeah,
I mean,
Yeah, thanks so much.
Yeah, thanks guys for having me. I do want to give a shout out to Endless Fables because Brian runs that AWOC collab. And like I said, I started shooting some AWOC stuff, and he invited me to be in that collab. And just to get inspired by seeing everybody else's shots has been awesome. So the guys that put all this work in with the collab, and Brian putting the themes together every week and putting the collages together, and so big shout
of
out to
work.
him because
Lot
it
of
is a
work.
lot of work. And I just want to make sure Brian gets his flowers because the guy is awesome. He's super friendly.
Yeah, absolutely. I met him
fantastic guy.
very recently at Toylanta. Super nice guy. He does some really good work. Yeah, for
Awesome.
sure. Well, thank you. Yeah, Bill, thank you so very much for coming on. I really appreciate it. I know it was kind of like last minute. I kind of asked you in the middle of the week, and
That's all good.
so I'm glad you could do it. Yeah, we want to do more of these where we, engage the community, people who are, making customs. Like, geez, like we could do a whole episode on Rob's customs. Rob is like, to me, he makes the best customs in AWOC. I'm just, every time he sends one in our chat group, I'm like, this guy is just crushing it. So we want to focus on like customs and like, photography. And we're, thankfully you, accepted the invite to come on, and you are our very first photographer to have on. So we can't wait to see what you, have next. So you're probably working on or getting ready to work on the next collab for like maybe next week. You have can you drop us any little hints about what we can look forward to?
So the theme we got going on for Wednesday's post is reflection. So I've seen a lot of guys in our chat do some really cool stuff. So a lot of that we be looking forward to. And then I'm curious as everybody else what next month's themes are going to be. It's been cool. Sometimes Brian will post the themes, like I said, for an entire month, which is always really helpful. Sometimes week to week. Yeah, so this week's theme coming up is reflection. Like I said, I've seen a lot of shots in our collab group that look really awesome. Trying to think, we got anything else going on?
Now I'm
Pretty much
inspired. I got to go do. I'll do an AWOC inspired like a reflections post for Wednesday. I never jumped in. I've never done it. I'm too intimidated, but I'll try. I'll give
Go
it a
for
shot.
it, man. Join the collab. Have fun. That's what it's all about.
All right, Andy. Reflection. When you get out there with the bamboo, take some water with you.
wow, as much rain as we've had, there's probably still some out there.
Maybe he's contemplating and reflecting in the bamboo forest. All right. Well, cool. Well, thank you everybody for joining us today. And my co-host Andy, Rob, Jeff, Brian, Bill for coming on. Everybody that's in the chat, thank you guys for hanging in there with us today. We did hit an hour. I didn't think we were going to make an hour. I'm glad we did. It was a really good conversation. Yeah, Brick, thank you very much. Good stuff as always, Tribe. Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for Brick for joining us. So we will see you guys in 2 more weeks. So thank